But anyway, back to the 43s here. So we got all these 43s. The word Civil War equals 43. The kid who shot up the Charleston church, supposedly, he was born on 4-3, Dylan Stormroof. Obama is the 43rd person to be the president. He is the 44th president, but the 43rd person to be president. Abraham Lincoln was the 16th, so 43 minus 16 is 27. That means they're 27 presidents apart. I've talked about how this year is a 27 year because whatever the reason, it's all about time travel. That's why Back to the Future is such a big movie. But anyway, 1988 was 27 years ago. 1927 was 88 years ago. Also, Abe Lincoln, or there was a Philadelphia train crash this year, but there was also a Philadelphia train derailment in 1943 on the same section of the track that the train that wrecked this year was. And then also, I wanted to point out, Abraham Lincoln was shot with a gun called the Philadelphia Derringer. Also, another reason that I talked about Can't Buy Me Love a long time ago was just because of love in general. And I never went back and watched it, and I should have. But love is 54, so the mirror is evil, 45. That's in iPad Go, where Obama winks at 10-6. 10-6 is the same as September 23rd, when the Pope is going to be in town or whatever. And they've been foreshadowing it, like I said. But Obama will also be 54 years old on 8-4 this year. And also, Abraham Lincoln was 45 years old in the year 1854. I mean, even this movie, like, you're telling me it's not about race or whatever, but I mean, this movie, they even made a remake of this movie, and they made it with black people. I mean, come on. It has Nick Cannon in it. It's called Love Don't Cost a Thing. But it was actually like a remake of, it even says that, it is a remake of Can't Buy Me Love. And they had 2 black people instead of 2 white people, or a mixture or whatever, you know, because they're pointing out the race difference. And I mean, so let's just look at it here. It says 101 minutes long. The word Philadelphia adds up to 101. 101 is the 26th prime, which I'm not going to go into in depth, but it all has to do with Queen Elizabeth. Also, so Cindy Mancini just died at age 43, or whatever her real name was, something Peterson, Andrea Peterson. So I just looked up the girl who basically resembles her in the Black movie or whatever. And she was born on September 26th, 1981, and is 33 years old. Significant number, not going in depth with that either, but September 26th is the day that the Pope is going to Philadelphia this year. So that would be her 34th birthday. 34 is the mirror of 43. Nick Cannon is the guy in that movie. He's born on October 8th. We've talked about Oct is 8, so 88, and he is 34, the mirror of 43. Nick Cannon also adds up to 98 and 44. So Obama, 44th president, but 98, for one, it's 49 and 49. Sorry, I'm not trying to get you confused if you don't know what I'm talking about. But also, the gun that killed Abe Lincoln is a Derringer. It adds up to 98. Everything I've talked about, it always goes back to love, which is because of Lupercalia, and it's over. Valentine's Day is during Lupercalia, so it all goes back to Lupercalia, which is a 3-day festival, where they sacrifice a wolf or a dog or whatever. But Lupercalia is 98. The mayor of Philadelphia right now is the 98th mayor of Philadelphia, and then you have 89 and 98, the mirrors, and I've talked about how a lot of this goes back to the Queen Elizabeth II, who is 89 years old. 89 goes with the 122, whatever. Yeah, also, I didn't put it in here, like the colors of the rainbow, so like to do with gay marriage or whatever. The colors of the rainbow are Roy G. Biv, and that adds up to 98. Michael Jordan won his last title or NBA championship in 1998, and they've used Back to the Future, Space Jam, and Teen Wolf big time. So Teen Wolf even has the Civil War scene. Michael J. Fox was born in 1961. Same year Obama was born. The Queen's mother, speaking of that, the Queen's mother was born on the same day as Obama, but 61 years before Obama. So she was born in 1900 and Obama was born in 1961. Like I said, the same year that the Civil War started. But in the Kanye West song, so he sung Queen Bohemian Rhapsody, and he says, "Mama, I just killed a man," or whatever. So to me, it just seems like he might be talking about the Queen Mother, which is Queen Elizabeth's mother who died. And there was stuff about that. I'm not going to go into that. But, I mean, just look at all these things here. So the word Freddie adds up to 51. Gray adds up to 51. Kanye West adds up to 51. Taylor Swift adds up to 51. The word Confederate adds up to 51. Kanye West claimed himself as a rock star, the greatest living rock star, but he's really a rapper. So that's 51. Wayne's World adds up to 51. Also, I rewatched this movie, and his name is Wayne Campbell. I looked it up and I spelled it right, so who knows if I'm doing it right now. But Wayne Campbell equals 51. Also, the Geneva Bible came out 51 years before the King James Bible, and that would make it 454 years ago. The Mirrors, Evil and Love. And the reason Wayne's World is because Wayne's World made Bohemian Rhapsody that much more popular or whatever, because they play it in the very beginning and they rock out, whatever. If you've never seen the movie, that's crazy that you've never seen the movie, for one, but that's what happens in the very beginning of the movie. But anyway, so Wayne's World, in the very beginning, right before they put in the tape, they pick up one of their friends who is too wasted or whatever, and then they say, if you're going to spew in this. But I never realized before that guy's name is Phil. Go figure, So his name is Phil. I'm talking about the Philadelphia, whatever. And then in Wayne's World, his name is Phil. Also, they work for, or their TV show is on Aurora Cable because they're from Illinois, just like Abe Lincoln, just like Obama. So Aurora Cable, it adds up to 43. They are Channel 10, though. And even there's multiple times in this movie where this guy goes up to people and he says, "I love you, man," or "I love you, right?" And then he says, "I know, I love you too," kind of thing. But anyway, for one, I love you is 43. I love you, man, is 53, which I've talked about a little bit, but I'm not going to go in depth with it. But there's a part where they're in the bus towards the end, and Garth tells the other guy, just say thank you to him, because he keeps saying "I love you" or whatever. And anyway, right after that happens, this guy grabs the steering wheel. I'm not going to pull a clip up, but he grabs the steering wheel and they swerve and they run into the sign on the road, and it says 88. Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm finally going to move on to the actual movie here in a second. But I mean, all of this just ties in together. I'm trying to recap a little bit to make a little more sense for people who might be new or something. But anyway, it all goes back. I mean, this really puts into perspective Robin Williams and Joan Rivers' death, too, because it's all about the gay agenda, right? And Joan Rivers, right before she died, 2 months before she died, she made the comment that Michelle Obama is a tranny. Everybody knows Michelle Obama is a tranny. And she said Obama's gay or whatever, and she's a tranny. Interesting, she died on September 4th, which is also 4/9, so I've talked about 49. June 8th, that's what made me talk about the 626 a long time ago, because YouTube copyright struck my videos, and they wanted me to see the 626, and I said I think something big will happen on 6/26, and then gay marriage was legalized. So, but June 8th is 262 days away from the 262nd day of the year. I mean, tons of stuff. It leads you to gay marriage, basically. So interesting. But she was born that day. She died 88 days after her birthday. But to tie in with Philadelphia here, her husband, her second husband here, the one that she has the kid with or whatever, is he died in Philadelphia in 1987 at the age of 62. That ties in with the Queen again. And it says basically he killed himself after he separated with Rivers by overdosing on prescription drugs in a Philadelphia hotel room. The first person to telephone Rivers upon his death was Nancy Reagan. And Nancy Reagan just turned 94 years old. So Joan Rivers died on 9/4. Nancy Reagan just turned 94. So then 9/4 to her birthday, 7/6/2015. It says it's 43 weeks, 4 days. The mirrors, 43:34. Interesting. Also, her husband was Ronald Reagan, and he was president until 1989. Or basically quit being president in 1989 because it was in the very beginning of the year. But what's interesting about that is because of NASCAR this season, you had the two Buschs that were out, and they both were replaced by guys with the name Reagan in their name. And I'm still not completely sure of the significance of it, of what the point was. But this guy, like, beat up his wife or girlfriend, and he got suspended, right? All the domestic violence stuff going on with, like, Adrian Peterson and whatnot. But he got suspended, and they replaced him with this guy, Reagan Smith. So a Busch got replaced by a Reagan. But look when this dude was born. September 23rd, 1983. 9/23. Been talking about that a lot. But also, he replaced Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch was born on Obama's birthday 37 years ago. I mean, and that all has to do with the Queen. Once again, I mean, American Pharaoh. The last time a horse won the Triple Crown was in 78. Wow, are you kidding me? You can't make this up. I didn't even know. I looked at this a long time ago, I'm telling you. Way back in like February. Kyle Busch and Kurt Busch are brothers, like I said. And this guy got in a wreck and broke his leg, and he couldn't race. And his brother was suspended or whatever. So the two Bushes were out, and they were replaced by Reagans. This guy was born on Obama's birthday. And this guy was born on May 2nd, 5/2. Princess Charlotte, 52. Tons of stuff with it. The Queen was 33 years old in 1985. His brother's name adds up to 33 and 123, which is conspiracy, is the same as conspiracy. His name adds up to 106 and 34, so the mirror of 43 and 106 that we've been talking about with Obama winking, and just the Philadelphia train had the 601 on it going 106 miles an hour. Reagan Smith, the guy he was born on September 23rd, his name even adds up to 51 that I just talked about not too long ago. And also 114, 114, 44. November 4th is Egyptian Valentine's. There's a ton of stuff with this. Skipping over that. And then the other Reagan adds up to 45, which is evil. And 81 is also 34 years ago. So, I don't know. Pretty interesting. I'm about to re-look back into this when I have more time. This video is going to be really long as well. And honestly, I have not been watching that much NASCAR since the beginning of the season this year. But I remember that this is Jeff Gordon's last year he said he was going to race. And Jeff Gordon was also born on Obama's birthday. But Jeff Gordon is 43 years old this year. And this right here is exactly why it's significant to what I'm saying. NASCAR unofficially banned the flag, the Confederate flag at their races or whatever. But just look at this article here. It's liked 43K likes. I've been talking about 43. This video, I'm just going to make another part. So just check out the next video, and I'll keep talking.